What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today I've got another NBA news video to, of course, be going over with you guys. This time I actually wanted to talk about the recent report that's actually come out from New York Sports TV that actually does suggest that the Portland TRAILBLAZERS are actually expected to target Miles Bridges in free agency and could potentially be the favorite to, of course, get him. Now, I wasn't actually going to be really making a video on this at all. I didn't necessarily think it would be too big of a thing until it actually started to gain a lot of traction around the news, and then it actually kind of dawned on me for a second when I did my research on it a little bit more, and I was thinking, hold on a second, this could actually be one of the biggest free agency moves that actually happens, and I think it could actually be a lot more likely to happen than what a lot of people think it might. For example, there is a report that actually also said, and I think most of you guys have heard about this, especially if you're a Hornets fan, that actually said Miles Bridges wants a max contract. Yeah, believe it or not, Miles Bridges is actually looking for a max contract right now. And the reports are saying that the Charlotte Hornets are only willing to offer him around 4 years worth around $20 to $22 million per season. Which again, if it was $22 million, would actually kind of equal out to being, of course, $88 million over 4 years. But again, the Portland TRAILBLAZERS, when they made all of those trades that I think a lot of people questioned, they did actually do something really interesting, and that was actually kind of set them up to have a really big free agency. For example, they traded away CJ McCollum, who was on around $33 million, and Norman Powell, who was on around $18 million as well. Pretty much $51 million. They also got rid of Eric Bledsoe, who I believe was on around $19 million, which takes it up to $70, and Larry Nance, who was on about $11 million, which takes it up to $81. Of course, Josh Hart is on about $10 million, so it kind of goes back down to $70 because that's who they brought in. But the Portland TRAILBLAZERS were low-key able to free up around $70 million worth of cap space to go out there and sign free agents. And I actually really like the foundation that Portland are kind of building for themselves right now, because for those of you who haven't seen, it is, it's being said as well that Anthony Simons is expected to come back for around 15 to 16 million per season. Let's just say that takes off of that 70 million, so that would be about 54 million. And apparently Nurkic is willing to come back on a big pay cut as well. And what I mean by big pay cut is, I don't think there's actually too many teams out there that want Nurkic. He's very injury prone, and he can be very inconsistent, especially of recent. So again, I could actually see him coming back on around 8 million or so. So if you think about it like that, I actually genuinely believe that the Portland TRAILBLAZERS will still go into this free agency with around $45 to $50 million to spend, having a foundation of Damian Lillard at point guard. Of course, you would then have Anthony Simons at shooting guard, Jusuf Nurkic at that center position, and then Josh Hart as your sixth man. So a really, really nice foundation. Now, as I said, considering Miles Bridges was looking for around 30 to 35 million a year, and Charlotte are only going to be offering around 20 to 22, I think the Portland TRAILBLAZERS are low-key going to come in with an offer that the Charlotte Hornets can't even really match, and that an offer that Miles Bridges will not decline. And I think this could be around 25 to 26 million a year. If they offer him $25 million, and let's just say it's over, again, the 4 years, that could realistically be around $20 million more in total than what the Charlotte Hornets would offer. And I definitely know Miles Bridges would be very inclined to take that offer. And I think if you're a TRAILBLAZERS fan, that's a really, really good deal, because if you don't get Miles Bridges, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of other players that are up at his level and age that you're going to be able to get. We got to keep in mind that Miles Bridges is a 24-year-old or so, pretty much scoring around 19 points per game and playing some decent defense, and he's improved his three-point jumper. Now, he and LaMelo Ball were not able to take the Charlotte Hornets to the playoffs. Again, they did do the play-in, weren't able to take him to the playoffs, but again, that was a young team in an Eastern Conference that for the first time in a while was better than the Western Conference. So, the way I see it is, if the Portland Trailblazers do offer this deal, I think he will accept it, and if you're, the Hornets, you're losing a dude that could be a potential all-star one day, and again, was forming a really good duo with LaMelo Ball, so it would be a massive hole that the Charlotte Hornets would have to kind of fill in. And again, I just don't think they're willing to give him $25 million a year. They've already got Terry Rozier on above $20 million. LaMelo's going to want to max very, very soon, and they've got other players to pay. Gordon Hayward is still on a max, and they're not a big franchise that's really made much money recently. That's going to be really hard to see them do that. But again, if you're the Portland Trailblazers, getting Miles Bridges would only be the first step. Bringing in a dude that's on the borderline of making the All-Star would be the first thing. We know they're really interested in Jeremy Grant. I think they will still trade for Jeremy Grant, who's on around $20 million. So then again, you've just filled up $45 million right there. Got about $5 million to spend, not taking in veteran minimums. They're still going to take a player that's pretty solid at pick 7 or whatever it is, like an AJ Griffin, who might eat into some of that contract. I'm sure they'll have some type of mid-level exception or something. Rumors are saying that if they build a really good team, a veteran like Eric Bledsoe or someone like that would actually be interested in potentially coming back. So they could be realistically looking at a roster that looks like, and if they bring Joe Ingles back too, who again is a solid role player, could be looking at a roster that looks like Damian Lillard at point, Anthony Simons at the 2, Miles Bridges at the 3, Jeremy Grant at the 4, Yusuf Nurkic at the 5. Then off the bench, you would have Eric Bledsoe, Keon Johnson, Joe Ingles would also be there too, Josh Hart, and obviously some backup centers and bigs that I think they'll definitely look to try and get. Could try and get a JaVale McGee, and hey, that team could realistically be one of the best teams in the whole entire NBA. Especially if Nurkic was to stay healthy, because if we think about it like this, Simons was playing like a near all-star towards the end of last season. I know they had really no one else, but he was playing out of his mind, and I expect him to keep getting better and better. You've got him there, then you got Miles Bridges, who's knocking on the door of being an all-star. You got Damian Lillard, who's still an all-star. Jeremy Grant, who's one of the best role players in the league. Even though he wants to be a star, he's just a very, very good role player. I think we all know this. Nurkic, if he's healthy, he's a solid dude. That bench would be really nice. I think their coaching wasn't as bad as some people said as well. There's a lot going on right now with that Portland Trailblazers team. And yeah, I just think if they play this free agency out and be smart with it, they could actually realistically come out of it as being maybe one of the best teams in the West. You got a bunch of dudes that are near all-stars, really trying to prove themselves. All know their role, like Anthony Simons, I think knows his role with Damian Lillard now. Both shot creators. They just got to, again, get that defense going. But then again, you're bringing in really solid perimeter defenders in Miles Bridges and Jeremy Grant. 2 very solid perimeter defenders. Only worry for my team would be that interior defense. I don't know how it would go with just Nurkic. That's why I would definitely try and target a JaVale McGee if I was them, to try and help defend that interior. And again, maybe go from there. But yeah, I'm really excited about this. I think it'll make a lot of sense. But again, if you're the Charlotte Hornets, you cannot leave. You cannot let Miles Bridges leave. It would be a big no-no. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Definitely comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Do you guys think Miles Bridges should go to the Portland Trailblazers, or do you think he might re-sign with the Charlotte Hornets? Of course, I would definitely really like to know. But as I was saying, please make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment. And I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.